Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel Jordan Was. And everybody, if you were paying attention, like most of you, regardless if you're Trump supporters or whatever, I'm sure all of you heard about Donald J. Trump not being found. Donald J. Trump had been found not guilty of the Georgia election interference case, and basically they're the judge that, in other words, he pretty much just got off he was just like let off the hook with the threatening phone call with one of the Georgia election officials, and what he said in the tape, that in that phone call, in that tape, he said he wanted to find 11,780 votes. And yeah, everybody knew this was criminal. Like most people did. Okay, I mean, yeah, clearly it is criminal, but again, I can't argue with the judge's decision to find him not guilty in the Georgia election interference case. I can't argue with the judge there. I don't agree with the judge's decision to find him not guilty for that kind of criminal behavior. But I mean, I'm sure he had like a court system that he had to follow, and that's probably why he gave Donald J. Trump the not guilty verdict, because I'm sure it was probably legal in Georgia to actually, it's probably legal in Georgia where you can actually pull off like some kind of harassing kind of phone call about election fraud and like interfering with or just making a phone call to harass a Georgia election official. I mean, it's probably legal to harass somebody in that state, in Georgia. But then again, it shouldn't really be, tolerable at all. I mean, there are some states here in the United States where if you commit like some kind of if you make like some kind of criminal activity, some sorts of criminal activity can, in some states it can be, totally, like, I guess, legal. And, all these judges have, like, court systems that they have to, follow. So if somebody's found like not guilty or guilty, it's going to be two things. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I could guess this would be if there's a bunch of evidence that you committed a crime, that the that the jury actually gets, that can determine the guilty verdict. And, a court system. But most of the time, sometimes when judges give you the not guilty verdict, it's got to be because juries have, like, lack of evidence to prove that you actually committed a crime. And I'm sure that the jury in Georgia probably just didn't have a lot of proof to prove that Donald J. Trump had committed, harassed the, a Georgia elected official. I think it's the Georgia staff or governor. But because of the lack of evidence, I'm sure that's exactly why he got away with, what he got away with. So, like, lack of evidence and that stuff, cases that are, like, too hard for the jury to actually prove that this guy committed a crime, that's gonna sometimes give you, like, a, a not guilty verdict that the judge gives you. I mean, not guilty verdicts are, if juries don't have, like, enough evidence to prove that you committed a crime and that stuff, then sometimes the judge is going to give you that. But if a court system has, or not a court system, if a jury has, like, enough documents of evidence and that stuff, saying that you committed such a crime and that stuff, then some of the time you're gonna get, and sometimes, it's not always, but you can eventually get, like, a guilty verdict when there's, like, evidence and piles of evidence and piles and piles of evidence after evidence after evidence. Then sometimes you're likely to get, like, a guilty verdict handed to you, and then the judge determines how many numbers of years you get to serve in jail. Not the cops. The cops can make the arrest, but the judge gets to determine how long you stay in jail. So, I mean, even though Trump is, found not guilty, sometimes it could take, like, years and years and years for cases like this to actually, to actually continue to actually go forward in the future. And then it normally takes a criminal, like, years and years and years until they're eventually found guilty for, all their crimes. And that's what I wanted to actually, that's exactly what kind of a point I wanted to make in this video. So even though Trump may be living as a free man right now, eventually he's not going to be able to evade the law any longer than he thinks he might have. Now, what's even more sad is he's going to continue to go on his Truth Social, and according to Farron Cousins, who is the host of Ring of Fire, and he is the host of Ring of Fire, and he's also the host of Fair and Balance, and he said that Trump has completely lost his grip with reality. And I mean, it's true. He's making a bunch of deranged posts and delusional posts off of his Truth Social, and he's basically trying to make claims that are, absolutely, untrue, not true. The country is not even really corrupt, and we don't have a corrupt court system, and, that kind of stuff, and, oh my goodness, the U.S. had become, the most corrupt country ever, he claims, on his Truth Social platform, which is, not really true. I mean, we do have a lot of gun violence here that takes place in the United States, and, so far 2023 is not looking to be such a good year. And, but there are people that are trying to do their best to actually put a stop to this gun violence stuff. Let's see. I can name, one recent shooting that I've heard of, and this has happened in Jacksonville, Florida. And this guy, as you would expect, now maybe you may have not heard this, but there was a guy, he is a white male, and what he did is he opened and killed 3 black people at a Dollar General. And that was the recent shooting that I've heard about. I mean, honestly, I wanted to take a break from talking about mass shootings, but, I just wanted to bring that up because, I'm going to use this as an example that, people are not going to tolerate these kind of things anymore. I mean, sometimes, eventually, there pretty much be, a change that needs to happen in America. And, it's sick. And, I mean, I give Chris Christie, who was there at the first Republican debate, and he said that he does not support Donald J. Trump because he's, criminal, and he should not be, pardoned for his crimes. He should not, he should not be supported because of the crimes he committed and that stuff. And there are other Republicans that still support Donald J. Trump, because Donald J. Trump is the head of the Republican Party for them. So I just wanted to get that fact out. But I think the Republican Party's kind of become, I guess Donald J. Trump, what he did, I guess other Republicans are trying to, put politics into, should a Republican or a Republican, senator, governor, or Republican president, or Republican former president, should they be convicted of the crimes? And I think the Republican Party is just trying to put politics into it, which Chris Christie isn't wanting to go down that path. And Chris Christie got booed a lot because he didn't support Donald J. Trump, even though he committed these crimes and that stuff. And Chris Christie wasn't afraid to come out with the truth. And, people should not be afraid to come out with the truth. I mean, I, for one, would not support Donald J. Trump. And I'm sure others that probably knew exactly what he's done to the country, I don't think would want to support him at all. But if you're a Trumpican supporter, you're probably still gonna wanna